Senate will come to order. The senators will please take their seats. Those persons not entitled to the privileges of the floor will retire to the gallery. Good morning, senators. It's a Monday. Good morning, guests. If you are able, the senators and all in attendance, please stand. We will be led in prayer this morning by Raja Gopal Tupal, Hindu priest of Glen Allen. Following the prayer, everyone will please remain standing. We will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America by Senate Page J. Smiles of Richmond.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Bhadram Karne Vishrunuyama Deva Bhadram Pashyemakshabirya Jatraha Sthirairangai Eshustuvagam Sastanobihi Veshema Deva Hitayadayuhu Swastina Indro Vruddhashravaha Swastina Pusha Vishvavedaha Swastina Starksho Arishtanemihi Swastino Bruhaspatir Dhadatu Om Shanti 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 Satyam Vada Dharmanchara Swadhyaya Anma Pramadaha Acharyaya Priyam Dhanamahritya Prajatantum Mavyavachetsi. May we hear auspicious words in your ears. May we see the auspicious things from our eyes. May we enjoy the life that is beautiful and beneficial to the universe. Always exclaim the truth, presence and truthfulness. Abide by your profession, what is good for an individual and the society. Do not be idle in seeking knowledge. Never err from truth. Never fall from duties. Never neglect welfare and prosperity, and never neglect the studies. May there be peace. These verses from Dashashanti and Taittiriya Upanishad in Vedas. May God bless you all. Thank you. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The clerk will call the roll. All those present, please vote aye. The clerk will close the roll.
You have a quorum, Madam President. Senate Journal for Friday, January 27th, 2023.
The senator from Augusta, Senator Henger, moves that the reading of the journal be waived. All in favor of waiving the reading of the journal will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 37, noes 2.
Ayes 37, noes 2. The reading of the journal is waived. The clerk will report any communications from the House of Delegates.
Madam President, I move that we waive the reading of the communications from the House of Delegates.
The question is, shall the reading of the communication from the House of Delegates be waived? All in favor of waiving the communication will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 34, noes 4.
Ayes 34, noes 4. The reading of the communication is waived. The clerk will report any communications from the governor.
I do not have any, Madam President.
We have quickly arrived at the time when we will hear who our guests are in the gallery. We thank you for coming, and the normal procedure is that Your senator will rise and introduce you, and then I will make my remarks. And if you would hold your applause after my remarks, then that'll make it go a little bit quicker. And so with that, I call on the gentlelady from Enrico, Senator Donovan.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise for the purposes of an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to express my great appreciation for being led in prayer today by Raja Gopal Thupal from Henrico. He is a Hindu priest there. We've had many wonderful celebrations together, and we are so grateful that he could be here today to open us with prayer on Monday. Please welcome him, Madam President.
Please rise and receive the welcome of the Senate. Thank you for coming, and thank you for what you do in our community. And senators, let us give him the warm welcome of his Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Lewis, the gentleman from Accomack.
Madam Chair, rise for the purpose of an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Madam Chair, members of the Senate visiting with us today in the gallery are representatives of Beacon House and Eggleston Brain Injury Services Program. Eggleston's Brain Injury Services Program provides services specialized to address the complex needs of survivors who have experienced disabilities because of a brain injury, which can include cognition, behavioral, and physical limitations. Eggleston is home to the Beacon House, which is an acquired brain injury clubhouse, a program for people living with the effects of an acquired brain injury. The Beacon House focuses on abilities rather than disabilities and capitalizes on these abilities for the combined good of all members. Members of the clubhouse are recognized for the contribution, no matter how big or small that contribution is. There are no patients in the clubhouse. Members work together to support each other in pursuit of personal goals. Today in the gallery we have representatives from Beacon House and Eggleston's Brain Injury Services. They are Jamie Peed and Zach Miller. So I'd ask that they receive the warm welcome of the Senate.
Please rise. Thank you for coming, and thank you for what you do, and that we hear that there are no patients, but that everyone is a member of the club and that they do for self and for others. It's a wonderful thing. And senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Steff, the senior senator from Virginia Beach.
Madam President, I rise for an introduction.
The senator may continue.
Madam President, I'd like to introduce 5 guests from the Virginia Beach Police Department to my colleagues in the Senate today. MPO Brian Luciano, Aaron Dove, Tony Espinosa, and retired Master Police Officer John Tolowski, and Amy Bierman. Together, these 5 officers have over 100 years of law enforcement experience, have served the city of Virginia Beach with pride and distinction. Additionally, they also represent their fellow colleagues as leaders with the Virginia Beach Police Benevolency Association, Local 34, established in 1983. The PBA represents the sworn officers and detectives in the city of Virginia Beach and works to enhance better relationships with the city of Virginia Beach. I'm grateful for their service to Virginia's largest city and for ongoing efforts to support critical public safety issues throughout the Commonwealth. Please give them the warmest regard of the Senate.
Please stand. We thank you for coming and watching your Senate, and we thank you for being a part of the Virginia Beach Police Benevolent Association. Thank you for all that you do to help us to be safe. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Eben, the gentleman from Alexandria.
I rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. We have 2 of my constituents, representatives of the Alexandria-based organization Safer Country, that promotes extreme risk protection orders in safer communities. And they're Boyd Walker and Paul Friedman. And I'd ask that you give them the warm welcome of the Senate, Madam President.
There you are. Good morning to you. And thank you for the good that you do in our great Commonwealth. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Stewart, the gentleman from King George.
Thank you, Madam President. Rise for an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. It's my pleasure to bring to the attention of the body the presence in the gallery of my seatmate's daughter, Reagan McDougal. She's off today for a teacher workday. She was here Friday too, but we didn't embarrass her on Friday, so we left it for today. And she's here to watch her Diddy, and that's Diddy, not Daddy, in action. And I'd hope you all would offer her the warm welcome of the Senate.
There you are, Reagan. You have a front row seat, literally, to all that goes on. And maybe one day you too will be a senator and perhaps even surpass your father. Senators, let us give them the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes the junior senator from Richmond City, Senator Morrissey.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Madam President, and good morning to you.
Good morning.
I rise for the purpose of an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, members of the body, it's my great pleasure to introduce this morning a group of teachers and students. They are from the West End Christian School in Hopewell. There are 3 teachers that are accompanying 15 students today. That Mrs. Nancy Frink, J.D. Ragland, and Kim Ainge. They will be joined or are joined by 15 upper class students. The students are visiting the General Assembly today to see debate in action. I promised them a performance from Senators Stewart and Stanley and Senators Edwards and Surville on how they debate in the General Assembly. Let me tell you a little bit about WECS. It's located in Hopewell, Virginia. They have been in existence for 65 years, and they have approximately 200 students ranging from K to 12th grade. They've got a loving and caring faculty and staff, long-tenured staff. Graduates have gone on to major colleges and universities such as Liberty, University of Richmond, Virginia Tech, Senator, UVA, VMI, the College of William & Mary, just to name a few. But, Madam President, at the heart of the philosophy and foundation of WECS is academics, student life, and commitment back to the community. And it's the commitment that the teachers and the faculty and the students take very seriously. So with all of that said, I hope that my Senate colleagues, when appropriate, can give a warm and hearty Virginia State Senate welcome to the students and faculty from the West End Christian School in Hopewell, Virginia.
Please rise. Thank you for watching your government, and I do think you might see a good bit of debate today if you've looked at our calendar. And, you know, as you know, in studying government, you are the government. All of us are the government. And one day we hope to see you here as well. And so let us give them, senators, the warm welcome of their Senate. Chair recognizes Senator Obenshain, gentleman from Rockingham.
Madam President, I rise to request a leave of absence for my seatmate, the senator from Fauquier, who's away from the Capitol on pressing personal business.
Without objection, that will be so noted. Thank you, Senator. Is there any other business to come before the Senate? Chair recognizes Senator Heckworth, the gentleman from Tazewell.
Yes, ma'am. I rise to ask for unanimous consent to introduce a bill, and I still have capacity to do that.
And the bill, sir,
is concerning a charter that came in change over the weekend.
The question is, shall the Senate grant consent to introduce a bill relating to issues as related by the senator? All those in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. Despite the phlegm, sir, I think the consent of the Senate has been granted. to introduce your bill? Any other business? Hearing none, the clerk will call the calendar.
Senate calendar for Monday, January 30th, 2023. Uncontested calendar, Senate bills on third reading.
Chair calls on Senator Saslaw. So. The Senate will temporarily be at ease. Lucas.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the Senate bills on third reading, uncontested calendars, on pages 1 through 10, that is Senate Bill 813 through Senate Bill 1479, be placed upon the final passage in the block. Any senator desiring to remove a bill from the block, please do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill.
The question is, shall the Senate bills on the uncontested calendar, third reading, pages 1 through 10, Senate Bills 813 through Senate Bills 1479, be placed upon their final passage in the block with the understanding that any senator desiring to remove a bill from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill. All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The bills are before us in the block. The clerk will read the number of the bills. Does the senator have a...
Senate Bill 813, Senate Bill 816, Senate Bill 820, Senate Bill 904, Senate Bill 906, Senate Bill 944, Senate Bill 993, Senate Bill 999, Senate Bill 1107, Senate Bill 1135, Senate Bill 1149, Senate Bill 1160, Senate Bill 1201, Senate Bill 1228.
Madam President.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Rockingham County rise?
Madam President, I would respectfully request that Senate Bill 1228 come out of the block and back for the day for purposes of taking it back and amending it.
Without objection, Senate Bill 1228 is out of the block and by for the day.
Senate Bill 1240, Senate Bill 1289, Senate Bill 1376, Senate Bill 1411, Senate Bill 1442, Senate Bill 1479,
The question is, shall the bills in the block pass? That is, all bills except Senate Bill 1228 on page 7, which is out of the block and by for the day. All in favor of passage of the bills will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The bills in the block pass.
Regular calendar, Senate bills on third reading. Senate Bill 1455, a bill relating to civil disturbance local curfew penalty.
Chair recognizes Senator Norman, the gentleman from James City County.
And we have a floor amendment.
Good afternoon, Madam President.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for your patience. I would respectfully move that Senate Bill 1455 be passed by for the day, please.
Without objection, Senate Bill 1455 goes by for the day.
Senate Bill 1067, a bill relating to substantial risk orders, substantial risk factors, and considerations.
Chair recognizes Senator Somerville, the gentleman from Eastern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the bill pass, and speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen, the Senate, this bill has to do with emergency risk orders, more popularly known by their euphemism as red flag orders. We passed the red flag bill back in the 2020 session, and now today, about 19 different states have red flag orders in place. Florida has actually used theirs over 2,300 times, and it's been used in about 78 counties in Virginia, but we've only had about 403 of these orders ever issued in our state, and we have about, I think it's about 40 counties, maybe 50 counties, where no red flag order has been issued yet. Just for everybody's information, Fairfax County has the most, obviously has the largest population, 127. The list beyond that is not a list. The order of the ranking on the list, I would not say is what you would identify as like a partisan type list. The number 2 on the list is Hampton. Number 3 is Virginia Beach. Prince William's number 4. Hanover County is number 5. Colonial Heights is actually number 8. York County is number 9. Dinwiddie is number 11. So these orders have been used in I would say an odd pattern, but what is apparent, at least from my perspective, is that some counties just don't seem to quite understand the use of these orders and when they're supposed to be used. So what the legislation does, I would just note, Chesterfield County, one of the largest in the state, has only used the red flag order proceeding 3 times. Henrico once, Fauquier 0, Roanoke twice, Roanoke County once, the city twice. And basically what this bill does is it sort of fleshes out the different factors that a magistrate issuing an ex parte order should look at, may look at, and then the orders that the different factors that they have to look at, which I think will help everybody have a much greater understanding as to the types of conduct that might engender a need for somebody to seek a red flag order. I would note also, Madam President, that I think it was last year, the United States Congress passed a bipartisan act to create a $750 million grant program to encourage states to develop red flag programs. And I would just note that the former president, the last president, actually endorsed the whole red flag concept. This is not a partisan idea. That bill passed the United States Senate 65-33, passed the House 234-193, had the support of people like U.S. Senator Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, Joni Ernst, John Cornyn, Roy Blunt, Richard Burr, Marsha Blackburn. We're not talking like the liberal part of the Senate here, the United States Senate. Polling shows that our red flag laws are supported by 85% of the public and 78% of gun owners. Again, this is not a Second Amendment issue, and it's not a partisan issue. The bill just makes it clear the kinds of evidence that the court should and can consider. I think it'll provide clarity to courts. It'll provide clarity to our jurisdictions. It's good policy. You know, we've had several mass shootings in Virginia just within the last 3 months where red flag orders may have actually avoided some unfortunate deaths. We need to pass the bill. Thank you, Madam President.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from...
Madam President, would the gentleman yield for a question?
Will the gentleman yield?
I'll yield.
The senator yields.
Madam President, I would ask the gentleman whether the statistics he read about the lack of utilization of the red flag statute and the counties that he ticked through Are those the number of instances in which the process has been started, or the number of red flag orders that have been issued by courts?
Senator Sorovell has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Excuse me. I would answer the gentleman by saying, first of all, there's two types of orders that can issue. One is the emergency SRO, which is one that's issued on an ex parte basis without a full two-sided hearing. And I have the data for that. Then I have the data for the final SROs, which is obviously a lower number because after the evidentiary hearing, some of those are not granted into a final SRO. So the data I read off, I believe, was the emergency SROs and not the final SROs.
Madam President, further question.
Further question for the gentleman.
I'll yield.
Madam
Senator yields. Senator Obenshain has the floor.
Thank you. Madam President, I would ask the gentleman whether the statistics, whether he has the statistics as to the number of times that the process has been initiated in each of those counties, and whether those are substantially higher than the number of emergency orders or final orders that are issued.
Senator Sorovell has the floor.
Madam President, I would note that emergency orders were granted 403 times, and final orders were granted 235 times. So that would suggest that around 60% of emergency orders turn into final orders, on average, statewide.
Madam President.
And I have it by jurisdiction if you want it.
I will wait my turn and speak.
Senator Stewart, the gentleman from King George.
Thank you, Madam President. Will the gentleman yield for a question?
Will the senator from Eastern Fairfax County yield?
I'll yield.
The senator yields. Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. As this bill clearly at least suspends a constitutional right, which is enshrined in the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution, does this law still deny a person who is a subject of that order due process of law?
Senator Sorovell has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I would say the answer to that is no. And just to clarify what I mean by that, the Senator, I'm sure, remembers the lengthy debate we had about this back at the Science Museum a few years ago. I believe the junior senator from the city of Richmond had a lot of questions about the due process pieces of this back then. And we built all kinds of due process controls into this, including, I believe, one of these petitions can't even start until the Commonwealth attorney initiates the process. In other words, like, I can't go down and say Richard Stewart said some things and go get something to the magistrate. So first of all, there's a couple different gatekeepers. I believe the law enforcement has to investigate it as well before it can initiate. Then, after the 14 days, there's a judge has to find that everything based on the affidavit is sufficient. There's another element of due process there. Then you get your 14-day hearing. You get due process there before the final order was entered. I would just note that the process, I think, is actually more robust in its protections than we provide for family abuse protective orders, child abuse protective orders, which also the right to parent is a fundamental constitutional right. The right to live in your house is a fundamental constitutional right. All of those constitutional rights, those rights have less procedural due process protections than your right to possess a gun. And so I would submit that this has plenty of due process in it.
Gentleman yield for another question.
Will the gentleman yield for another question?
I'll yield.
The gentleman yields. Senator Stewart has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. That was a very lawyerly answer. So I'll try it a different way. Before a right which is enshrined in the Bill of Rights is suspended, does the individual who is the subject of the petition have the opportunity to have a hearing before a judge in a court of law with an attorney of their choosing to represent them?
Senator Sorovell has the floor.
No. We debated that and discussed it.
Chair again recognizes Senator Obenshain, the gentleman from Rockingham.
Madam President, speaking of the bill,
Senator may continue.
You know, what I think I've heard is, number one, I heard in committee this morning in a moment of candor that this is an expansion of the red flag law. That is what was said in committee, and I would agree with that, that it is an expansion. What I've heard on the floor today is that the red flag law, in the opinion of some, is not utilized enough. I've heard that, you know, when we debated this law to begin with, one of the significant concerns that was articulated by many opponents of it were concerns about improper uses of the red flag law. For example, retaliatory uses, uses in domestic disputes or employment disputes or in other instances. I would posit that perhaps the law is working. Perhaps it is not a situation in which counties across Virginia don't understand the law. Perhaps there are instances in which the process has begun, but because of improper uses or for other reasons, lack of evidence to support it, not even the first order is issued. What I have not heard is any instance in which a red flag complaint was made but rejected, in which harm has occurred to anybody in the Commonwealth of Virginia. And in the absence of that, I would suggest that this is a further effort to expand this for the purpose of advancing this agenda, which I would respectfully submit is not justified by the facts or by data. I would hope that members would vote no.
Chair recognizes the junior senator from Richmond, Senator Morrissey.
Thank you, Madam President. Speaking on behalf of Senate Bill 1067.
The senator has the floor.
I would suggest to the body that I think we're getting away from the soul of this bill, and that is to help individuals and the community for somebody that has the potential of creating some really horrific harm. This morning we heard a bill in judiciary, I believe the sponsor was the gentleman from Prince George, about an individual that was aware that there could be somebody about to act and create some danger, to call this number to alert them. That's the genesis of Senate Bill 1067. Not to take away anybody's rights that are enshrined in the Constitution, but rather prevent some horrific carnage. And must I remind the body that we've already had in this country alone 680 mass shootings this year. Some of them occurred in the Commonwealth of Virginia. So if you focus on the soul of 1067, you will see it is to protect the community and not disenfranchise anybody of their constitutional rights. Thank you, Madam President.
It is not allowed for the members of the gallery to clap. Thank you. Chair recognizes Senator Somerville, the gentleman from Eastern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. If no one else desires to speak, speaking to the bill.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. So I just want to say a couple things. First of all, this is not an expansion of the law at all, whatsoever, in any way. I corrected myself in committee. It's not. This basically just makes clear what evidence the court can consider. If you look at the language that's in this statute, it was taken from the Florida statute. Again, Florida is not some bastion of progressivism at all, I would say. Florida has been one of the most aggressive states in using these laws, and that's where these factors came from. Number one. Number two, everybody needs to remember what a big part of this focuses on. The number one source of firearm deaths in America is suicides. 54% of all firearm-related deaths are suicides. This bill, the red flag law, is directly designed to prevent people from killing themselves. And that's something that ought to concern everybody. Reducing suicide is a good thing. But to state, number 3, to the gentleman's concern that these types of orders could be used maliciously, somebody could make something up to try to cause a problem for somebody. I've not read of that happening yet. I would think if that were to happen, it would be heavily publicized, but I would note that that person also would have the ability to bring a civil cause of action for either malicious prosecution or abusive process, probably abusive process. But they'd be able to file for damages and recover money if they were treated that way. And the last thing I would say is that, just in November, we had 2 mass shootings within, I think, about 10 days of each other. We had 4 people shot, 3 people killed at the University of Virginia by somebody who had some clear signs of emotional instability, threats of violence, et cetera. It's not clear whether that ever got communicated to law enforcement or not in a timely fashion. But there certainly were all kinds of factors out there that suggested that man was a candidate for a red flag order. And then shortly thereafter, we had 7 people killed at Walmart in Chesapeake. And from what I've read on that guy was saying things that worked, but nobody acted on it. But I think if somebody had acted on it, there would have been an opportunity to take a gun away if he had one. Or I think he might have bought it the same day, put an order on him so that when he went to buy the gun, he wouldn't have been allowed to buy it. So I'd submit, Madam President, that these red flag orders they're a good thing. They'll keep more Virginians safe and alive. They have plenty of due process. And I would hope we could continue to do things to take advantage of also this $750 million of federal money that's out there to help us administer this program, to help our localities administer. And I'm looking forward to the administration's announcement as to how much of that money they're going to be seeking for use in red flag proceedings.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 23, no 16.
Ayes 23, no 16. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 1029, a bill relating to public utilities, fiber optic broadband lines crossing railroads.
Chair recognizes Senator Stanley, the gentleman from Franklin County.
Good afternoon, Madam President. I would ask that Senate Bill 1029 go by for the day so we can finish up the amendments to it.
Without objection, Senate Bill 1029 goes by for the day.
Senate Bill 1120, a bill relating to the Virginia Employment Commission, authorized representative or member of commission powers, and there are 2 floor amendments.
Chair recognizes Senator Sorovell. The gentleman from Eastern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. Having voted on the prevailing side by which we engrossed Senate Bill 1120, I'd move that we reconsider that vote.
The question is, shall the vote by which Senate Bill 1120 was engrossed be reconsidered? Those in favor will...
Sorry, Madam President, just to be clear, by which we engrossed and passed the bill on to 3rd reading. We want to reconsider that entire vote.
Yes, sir. Understood. What the senator just said. Will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, no 0.
Ayes 38, no 0. The bill is reconsidered. Senator Sorovell.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll try not to mislead you by misstating my motion this time. I would move to waive reading of the floor amendment.
The question is, shall the reading of the floor amendment be waived? All those in favor of waiving the reading of the floor amendment will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The reading of the floor amendment is waived. Senator Sorovell.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd move the floor amendment speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen, this bill has I think, a very salutary purpose. We've had a ton of unemployment fraud that's taken place over the pandemic with the amount of money that was being distributed. And VEC came and to Senator Stanley and asked him to carry a bill to give them some additional tools to investigate that fraud. which I think we should all be supportive of. However, one of the things they asked for is the ability to issue subpoenas and take depositions of people without any kind of judicial oversight whatsoever, which gives me a little bit of pause. And so we talked in committee about the possibility of having an attorney involved on the front end so that if a subpoena is issued improperly or it's overbroad or asks for too much records, there could be somebody to hold accountable for that. And secondly, if the business that receives or the person who receives the subpoena is concerned about it being too overbroad, they have some ability to challenge that subpoena. And this floor amendment basically takes care of those two issues, which I thought were fairly uncontroversial. We were trying to keep the bill moving along in committee, and I missed it on second read the other day, and I hope we could adopt the amendment.
The question is, for what purpose does the gentleman from Franklin County rise?
Thank you, Madam President. Speak to the amendment.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Members of the Senate, I've worked with the senator from Fairfax, some portion of Fairfax, and this is a good amendment. I think it brings in a layer of protection to make sure that what goes out cannot and will not be abused. It's been looked over by an attorney. So I would tell you that I would find this to be a friendly amendment on a very good bill. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the floor amendments be agreed to? Those in favor of agreeing to the floor amendments will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The floor amendments are agreed to. Senator Surville.
Thank you, Madam President. Just note for the gentleman, I'm from the best part of Fairfax. I would move to engross and advance the bill to its third reading.
The question is, shall the bill, again, now be engrossed in advance to its third reading? Those in favor will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The bill is engrossed in advance to its third reading. Senator Surville.
Thank you, Madam President. I would move that we suspend the rules and dispense with the third constitutional reading.
The question is, shall the rules be suspended and the third constitutional reading be dispensed with? Those in favor of the motion will say aye. I'm sorry, this is a recorded vote. Those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, no 0, Rule 36-1.
Madam Chair. Madam President.
Chair recognizes the senator from northwestern Fairfax County.
Madam President, might we,
for what purpose does the gentlelady rise?
Madam President, there's a problem with my electronic voter. It did not record my vote as I wish.
The senator wishes to vote.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Senator, we'll temporarily be at ease until we check the senator's button.
Madam President.
For what purpose does the senior senator from Richmond rise?
I think because it was already, I haven't voted on the prevailing side. I move that we reconsider that vote because I think that's the only way to fix it.
It was not closed as yet, so it's not been official.
All right.
Thank you.
Just direct the clerk to start the vote. It did count. You can take care of it too. No, you do.
I am told that the vote was closed, although I didn't announce it, and therefore I will ask the clerk to strike that vote.
Do you want it to go? Yeah. So would you put that motion in? And he's going to, John is going to.
The Senate will return to order. I am going to put the motion again on Senate Bill 1120 so that the senator will have an opportunity to vote and the gentleman behind you will watch. The question is, shall the third constitutional reading be dispensed with and the rules suspended? Those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The rules are suspended. Senator Stanley, the gentleman from Franklin County.
Thank you, Madam President. I now move that Senate Bill 1120 pass, and speaking briefly to that.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Just as the senator from the best part of Fairfax said, we've had a real problem, especially when we gave out funds during the unemployment crisis during the COVID pandemic. Over $1 billion of those funds, taxpayer money, was misappropriated using identity theft. Over $100 million were people that used even their own identification, but criminally took money that they weren't entitled to, or maybe civilly did so. Either way, what we're doing is we're now empowering the Virginia Employment Commission with powers to go after and to find the records, bank records, and any other record that would demonstrate who took this money and where it went to, so they can prosecute those that may have been engaged in criminal conduct, but also try to recover that taxpayer money. So this gives our commissioner, through the signing of a subpoena power, to subpoena those records, compel witness testimony, and the things that they need to do to get their arms around this very serious problem, and to make sure that we can eradicate this waste, fraud, and abuse that's going on in the VEC. So for those reasons, Madam President, and those found in my bill alone, I now renew my motion that SB 1120 pass.
Chair recognizes Senator McPike, gentleman from Prince William.
Thank you, Madam President. Speaking to the bill,
the senator has the floor.
I appreciate the senators moving this forward. I do have some concerns, and he may want to respond to it as well. The number of VEC complaints that I do receive in my office, I think much like everyone's here, is quite prolific. I've dedicated one staff basically to deal with VEC cases, and I know many of you as well. I guess the question would be, hypothetical, if he chooses to respond to it, is the number of fraudulent claims also that are against my constituents that may have nothing to do with it. Is there a fund or anything else that helps them to defend when they have their ID stolen through this process? Because that is apparent that it's happened. And so outside of what happens now, which is a local Commonwealth attorney is charged to investigate, this bypasses that and gives it to someone who's not connected to the community, doesn't know that the person's a real person. That's my concern. This bypasses a whole other things. I absolutely agree with the senator's intent, but which is to reduce and try to get at those who are defrauding VEC. But in this case, it really circumvents to a whole nother level that we have in our Commonwealth attorney. And I just have some level of discomfort because I have constituents that have had frauds propagated against them. Who's going to cover their attorney's fees when the subpoenas start hitting their desks? I mean, there are people that have been stressed out and stressed out and stressed out because the system's been broken, Madam President. This bill, while well-intended, I think goes a little too far.
Senator Stanley.
Thank you, Madam President. I would answer the gentleman by saying the first thing we have to do is find out where the fraud went. And part of what we have to do is determine who was the fraudulent actor and who wasn't, who was truly the victim. Because the senator is exactly right. It's not just the Commonwealth of Virginia that's been victimized by this identity theft. It's the people whose identity were taken. And maybe some of those, which we've gotten calls in my constituent office as well, from all over my district, where they're saying my identity was used to obtain money that I wasn't either wanting or was entitled to, or they were seeking benefits and didn't get them because somebody else got them. The other problem with that is also it really kind of, unfortunately, makes those people that may have been victimized maybe look like to the government as the actual perpetrator of the crime. this kind of speeds up that process. We can find out who the good guys are, who the bad guys are. What we can try to do is make it quicker and more efficient so that we can get to that part. One, address the deficiencies of a loss of $1 billion. But two, and more importantly, to try to make sure that the right people who didn't do anything wrong or maybe were victimized by these criminals and this criminal element are made whole again and not looked at as somebody who gamed the system or may have committed an illegal act. I think we should be addressing something that takes care of exactly their needs. But at least this speeds up the system. This bill does not do that, and I admit that. But it speeds up the process by which the VEC can get information to determine who the good guys are and who the bad guys are and go after the bad guys and not go after the good guys. Thank you, Madam President.
Chair recognizes Senator Norman, the gentleman from James City County.
Speaking on a bill, Senate Bill 1120.
The senator has the floor.
As I'm looking at the calendar, so this is the fourth bill that we've had on the third reading on the regular calendar. We passed 2 by for the day, and this is the second bill by, and it's 1 o'clock. And we're a parliamentary debate body, but I would say that crossover is coming next Tuesday.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 37, noes 2.
Ayes 37, noes 2. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 788, a bill relating to medical cannabis program, transition from Board of Pharmacy to Virginia Cannabis Control Authority.
Chair recognizes Senator Favola, the gentlelady from Arlington.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I ask that this bill go by for the day. There are now conversations going on with many parties. Thank you.
Without objection, Senate Bill 788 goes by for the day.
Senate Bill 795, a bill relating to Cattle Industry Board, collection and disposition of assessment by handler.
Chair recognizes Senator Henger, the gentleman from Augusta.
Thank you, Madam President. Senate Bill 795 would simply extend the Cattle Industry Board ability to assess their members for another 5 years. So
if the senator will suspend for a quick second. The senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. This Senate Bill 795 would simply extend the ability of the Cattle Industry Board to collect an assessment from their members for transactions for another 5 years. I move the bill pass.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 37, noes 2.
Ayes 37, noes 2. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 924, a bill relating to burial fees for military spouses.
Chair recognizes Senator DeSteff, the senior senator from Virginia Beach.
Madam President, I move passage of Senate Bill 923.
The senator has the floor.
Madam Chair, what this does is sets up so the $400 fee for burying a military spouse next to their loved one in a military cemetery is paid for. With that, I move the bill pass.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, noes 1.
Ayes 38, noes 1. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 946, a bill related to campaign finance fundraising during special sessions prohibited.
Chair recognizes Senator Suderline, the gentleman from Roanoke County.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that Senate Bill 946 pass. And speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Senate Bill 946 would provide that we cannot fundraise while the Senate's meeting, regardless if we are in regular session or special session. There's not much difference. I would say there's no difference between regular and special session on the time we're meeting. It does not apply on days that the Senate is not meeting. So if we were meeting on Monday, and we're in special session, and we're going to continue, and 2 Mondays from now we'll meet again. During the intervening 2 weeks, members would still be able to fundraise. But on the days we're actually meeting and voting on legislation to make laws for the Commonwealth, we would not be able to actively fundraise.
Chair recognizes Senator Surville, the gentleman from Eastern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. Speaking to the bill.
The senator may continue.
Thank you, Madam President. You know, I didn't have a problem with the underlying policy. The problem is with the implementation. Just so everybody understands what this bill, the mousetrap this sets for every single person sitting in this room and down the hall is that if, for example, which has happened in the past, we can't agree with the other chamber on when to come back on a day. You know, the Constitution says that we can't adjourn without the consent of the other chamber without more than 3 days' notice. And so times happen when we're required to have pro forma sessions every 3 days. And I don't know about you all, but a lot of time when that's happening, I have no idea it's happening. Because it's, you know, either the senator from Henrico or the senior senator from Richmond sitting in the room down here for about 60 seconds in session. And what it means is on that day, starting at 12:01 a.m. until 11:59 p.m. the same day, you got to take all these buttons down off your website, go call up your other service, tell them to shut it down, and you have to be aware of that. And if you even just have the button up there, somebody could swear out a misdemeanor warrant for soliciting contributions on a day that we're in a pro forma session. And to me, that's just unwieldy. It's unworkable. I appreciate the idea that if we're in an extended special session for an extended period of time, meeting like day after day during the week or something like that, how this creates an appearance that we've otherwise prohibited. But linking it this way to the days we're in session, when we could be just pro forma, I think is really problematic, and that gave me concern. That was why I was one of the 2 no votes on this.
Chair recognizes the junior senator from Chesterfield, Senator Chase.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise to ask if we could pass this bill by for the day, please.
Without objection, Senate Bill 946 goes by for the day.
Madam President.
For what purpose does the gentleman rise?
I would like to ask, since I was just learned this on the floor, if we could just go by temporarily at first, at least, so I could find out why it's going by for the day, since it's been on the floor calendar, and we were just admonished by one of our floor leaders to not pass bills by for the day. So I would ask that it just go by temporarily, and if it goes by for the day, it goes by for the day later, but at least so I'd be informed. Yeah.
Will Senator Chase
Madam President, let me help.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from James City County.
Thank you very much, Madam President. And I always get nervous when I see someone open up the rules, because that means we're about to do something right. But having said that, Madam President, with all due respect, obviously I am a proponent of trying to move expediently, especially recognizing the tsunami that is out there next week. But I think consistent, particularly with a conversation I had with a smaller group earlier this morning, it would be very appropriate if we would extend the courtesy to allow the bill to be passed by for the day.
According to Rule 47E, the bill has to pass by for the day, Senator. because your motion is the third motion. And in order, it says, no motion shall be received, but to adjourn, to pass by for the day, etc., in that order. For what purpose does the gentleman from Roanoke County rise?
I'm fine to withdraw it so we can move this along. I appreciated the 10-second notice I had that it was going to go by for the day, though. That I don't think is how we usually do things here.
Senate Bill 1079, a bill relating to the Commonwealth Mass Transit Fund.
Chair recognizes the senior senator from Chesapeake, Senator Cosgrove.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the bill pass, and speaking briefly to the bill.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate. This bill allocates 3.55% of the Commonwealth Mass Transit Fund to be commuter rail systems jointly operated by transportation districts, and excludes such commuter rail systems from receiving allocations pursuant to the other distributions of the fund. What this actually does is it sets up a hard number for VRE in Northern Virginia. In this case, next year, $15.6 million. It's a hard line that they have to count on for their funding. It also requires periodic reports to be submitted to the Commonwealth Transportation Board. I hope it will be the pleasure of the body to pass the bill.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 1181, a bill relating to sale, transfer, or purchase of unfinished frames or receivers and unserialized firearms. Penalty.
Chair recognizes Senator Eben, the gentleman from Alexandria.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the bill pass, and speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
SB 1181 deals with what are known as ghost guns, creating a Class 1 misdemeanor punishable as a Class 4 felony for a second or subsequent offense, making it unlawful to knowingly possess or transfer, purchase an unfurnished frame or receiver without a serial number. The provisions related to the prohibition for possessing, transporting, or receiving an unfinished frame or receiver of a delayed effective date of January 1st, 2023. We know that ghost guns have been used in a series of horrific mass shootings, and I'll just mention two. In 2017, a man under prosecution for multiple crimes killed 6 people and injured 10 in Rancho Tehama Reserve, California, with 2 assault-style rifles he assembled using parts ordered online. And in late 2019, a 16-year-old used a ghost gun to kill 2 students and injure 3 others at Saugus High School in California. He was too young to legally purchase a gun. The measures in this bill support legitimate gun sellers who can lose business to those selling these parts and kits, which are marketed as unregulated and untraceable. This bill is about keeping guns out of the hands of children, people prohibited from owning a gun, and traffickers. More than 11 states have passed similar legislation, and I renew my motion that the bill pass.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of passage will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 22, no 17.
Ayes 22, no 17. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 1192, a bill relating to carrying assault firearms in public areas prohibited. Penalty.
Chair again recognizes Senator Eben.
I move SB 1192 pass, and speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
This has to do with banning the public carry of assault-style weapons on public streets and rights-of-way. Assault-style weapons are defined in the bill and the prohibition does not apply to law enforcement officers, military personnel performing their duties, or any person engaged in lawful hunting or recreational shooting at a shooting range or contest. They're really just designed to stop people from instilling fear in the public by carrying an assault-style weapon. And with that, I renew my motion the bill pass.
The question is, shall the bill pass? Those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 21, noes 18.
Ayes 21, noes 18. The bill passes.
Senate Bill 1382, a bill relating to purchase, possession, sale, transfer, etc. of assault firearms and certain ammunition feeding devices prohibited. Penalty.
Madam President.
Chair recognizes the senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
I believe that this has been run by the patron, but I would respectfully request that this bill go by for the day.
Without objection, Senate Bill 1382 goes by for the day.
Uncontested calendar. Senate bills on second reading.
Chair recognizes the senior senator from Fairfax County, Senator Saslaw.
Madam President, I move that all Senate bills on second reading on the uncontested calendar on pages 16 through 24, excuse me, that's Senate Bill 810 through 1439, be advanced to their engrossment and third reading in a block after the adoption of any amendments thereto. Any senator desiring to remove a bill from the block, please do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill.
The question is, shall all Senate bills on second reading on the uncontested calendar on pages 16 through 24, Senate Bill 810 through Senate Bill 1439, be engrossed in advance to their third reading in the block after the adoption of the amendments thereto, that any senator desiring to remove a bill from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill. Those in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The clerk will read the number of the bills.
Senate Bill 810, reported from the Committee on the Judiciary. Senate Bill 817, reported from the Committee on the Judiciary with amendment.
Chair recognizes Senator Saraville, the gentleman from Eastern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the committee amendment.
The question is, shall the committee amendment be accepted? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The amendment is accepted.
Senate Bill 836, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. Senate Bill 845, reported from the Committee on the Judiciary. Senate Bill 895, reported from the Committee on the Judiciary with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Saraville, the gentleman from Eastern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the committee substitute.
The question is, shall the substitute be accepted? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is accepted.
Senate Bill 910, reported from the Committee on Education and Health with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Newman, the gentleman from Bedford County.
Madam President, I move that the committee substitute be agreed to.
Question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to.
Senate Bill 970, reported from the Committee on Education and Health. Senate Bill 1034, reported from the Committee on the Judiciary with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator McPike, the gentleman from Prince William.
Thank you, Madam President. Move the substitute be agreed to.
Question is, shall the substitute be accepted? Those in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is accepted.
Senate Bill 1043, reported from the Committee on Education and Health with a substitute, and there is a floor amendment.
Chair recognizes Senator McPike.
Thank you, Madam President. Move the substitute be agreed to.
Want to waive the reading?
Nope. I want to waive this.
I'm sorry, it's a substitute. That's right. The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to. Senator McPike.
Thank you, Madam President. I waive the reading of the floor amendment.
The question is, shall the reading of the floor amendment be waived? Those in favor of waiving the reading will say aye. Those opposed, no. The reading of the floor amendment is waived. Senator McPike.
Thank you, Madam President. What the amendment does is strike lines to make it consistent with Senator Favola's bill that was rolled into mine regarding the definitions in relation to the school counselors. So they're now consistent across both bills, Madam President, and move the amendment be agreed to.
The question is, shall the amendment be agreed to? Those in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The amendment is agreed to.
Senate Bill 1062, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology with a substitute.
Senator Spruill, the gentleman from northern Chesapeake.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to be approved with the substitute.
The question is, shall the substitute be accepted? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is accepted.
Senate Bill 1072, reported from the Committee on Education and Health. Senate Bill 1081, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Edwards, the gentleman from Roanoke City.
Madam President, I move that the committee substitute be adopted.
The question is, shall the committee substitute be adopted? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is adopted.
Senate Bill 1097, reported from the Committee on Education and Health. Senate Bill 1108, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology with amendment.
Chair recognizes Senator Ruff, the gentleman from Mecklenburg.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the committee amendment.
Question is, shall the committee amendment be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The committee amendment is agreed to.
Senate Bill 1212, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Reeves, the gentleman from Spotsylvania.
Thank you, Madam President. I would move the committee substitute.
The question is, shall the substitute be accepted? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is accepted.
Senate Bill 1222, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Mason, the gentleman from Williamsburg.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the committee substitute be agreed to.
Question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to.
Senate Bill 1279, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology with amendment.
Chair recognizes the senator from northwestern Fairfax County, Senator Boysko.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the committee amendments be agreed to.
The question is, shall the committee amendments be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The committee amendments are agreed to.
Senate Bill 1302, reported from the Committee on Education and Health with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Deeds, the gentleman from Charlottesville.
Yes, ma'am. I move that the committee substitute be agreed to.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to.
Senate Bill 1305, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Hanger, the gentleman from Augusta.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the committee substitute be agreed to.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to.
Senate Bill 1340, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. Senate Bill 1341, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology. Senate Bill 1367, reported from the Committee on the Judiciary, and there's a floor substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Saravel, the gentleman from eastern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. Patron asked if I would move for this to go by for the day so she could be present when it's debated.
Without objection, Senate Bill 1367 goes by for the day.
Comes out of the block and goes by for the day.
Comes out of the block and by for the day.
Senate Bill 1439, reported from the Committee on Education and Health with substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Locke, the gentlelady from Hampton.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the substitute be agreed to.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to. No, it's me. I'm just checking my calendar. The question is, shall the Senate bills be engrossed and advanced to their third reading? That is, all bills except for Senate Bill 1367 on page 23, Senate Bill 1382 on page 16. That's it. I think I have it all. Senate Bill 1367 on page 23. So the question is, shall the Senate bills be engrossed in advance to their third reading? All bills except Senate Bill 1367 on page 23. All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bills are engrossed in advance to their third reading.
Regular calendar Senate bills on second reading. Senate Bill 973, a bill relating to commitment of sexually violent predators penalty, reported from the Committee on the Judiciary with a substitute and from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
Chair recognizes Senator Peake, the gentleman from Lynchburg.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we adopt the committee substitute.
The question is, shall the substitute be adopted? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The committee substitute is adopted. Senator Peake.
Madam President, I now move that the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third constitutional reading.
The question is, shall the bill be engrossed in advance to its third constitutional reading? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The bill is engrossed in advance to its third reading.
Senate Bill 1047, a bill relating to the Virginia Petroleum Products Franchise Act. Refiner includes supplier of motor fuels. Reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources.
Chair recognizes Senator McPike, the gentleman from Prince William.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that that bill go by for the day.
Without objection, Senate Bill 1047 goes by for the day.
Senate Bill 1139, a bill relating to storage of firearms in a residence where a minor is present penalty, reported from the Committee on the Judiciary with a substitute and from the Committee on Finance and Appropriations.
Chair recognizes Senator Boysko, the gentleman from northwestern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we adopt the substitute.
Question is, shall the substitute be adopted? Those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The substitute is adopted. Senator Boysko.
Madam Chair, I move that we engross and advance to its third reading.
Question is, shall the bill now be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 1180, a bill relating to elections administration, acceptance of certain services permitted, acceptance of money and grants permitted under certain circumstances. Reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections with amendments.
Chair recognizes Senator Eben, the gentleman from Alexandria.
Could SB 1180 go by for the day?
Without objection, Senate Bill 1180 goes by for the day.
Senate Bill 811, a bill relating to appeal interlocutory orders, reported from the Committee on the Judiciary with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Peterson, the gentleman from Fairfax City.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
I move this bill. Just kidding. I move that we adopt the substitute.
The question is, shall the substitute be adopted? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is adopted. Senator Peterson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that we engross this bill and move it on to the next reading.
The question is, shall the bill now be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 843, a bill relating to retired circuit court and district court judges' recall, evaluation, qualification by Senate Committee on the Judiciary and House Committee for Courts of Justice. Reported from the Committee on the Judiciary with a substitute.
Again, Senator Peterson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that we adopt the committee substitute.
The question is, shall the substitute be accepted? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The committee substitute is accepted. Senator Peterson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that we engross the bill and pass it on to third reading.
The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 941, a bill relating to the Virginia Residential Landlord and Tenant Act, security deposits. Reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology with a substitute.
Chair recognizes the senior senator from Chesterfield, Senator Hashmi.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the committee substitute.
Question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to. Senator Hashmi.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 988, a bill relating to Virginia Consumer Protection Act, exclusions residential home sales between private parties. Reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Peake, the gentleman from Lynchburg.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the committee substitute be agreed to.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to. Senator Peake.
Madam President, I now move that the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 1036, a bill relating to Virginia Tourism Authority, repeal exemption from Virginia Public Procurement Act and Virginia Personnel Act. Reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology.
Chair recognizes Senator McPike, gentleman from Prince William.
Thank you, Madam President. Move that the bill engross and advance to its third read.
The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 1102, a bill relating to public middle and high schools hazing prevention training. Reported for the Committee on Education and Health with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Boysko, the gentlelady from northwestern Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the substitute be adopted.
The question is, shall the substitute be adopted? Those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The substitute is adopted. Senator Boysko.
I move we engross and advance to its third constitutional reading.
The question is, shall the bill now be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 1227, a bill relating to Department of Professional and Occupational Regulation, effect of criminal convictions on licensure data to be included in biennial report. Reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Morrissey, the junior senator from Richmond.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the substitute be agreed to.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to. Senator Morrissey.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the bill be engrossed and passed along to its third constitutional reading.
The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third constitutional reading? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third constitutional reading.
Senate Bill 1263, a bill relating to Uniform Statewide Building Code, stop work orders, appeals of State Building Code Technical Review Board, decisions, recovery of cost. Reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology.
Chair recognizes Senator Hackworth, gentleman from Tazewell.
I move that the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third constitutional reading.
The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third constitutional reading? Those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 1351, a bill relating to the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, electronic meetings, local and regional public bodies. Reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology with a substitute.
Chair recognizes Senator Marsden, the gentleman from Western Fairfax County.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the committee substitute be agreed to.
The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? Those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The substitute is agreed to. Senator Marsden.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the bill be engrossed and passed to its third reading.
The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Uncontested calendar, Senate bills on first reading.
Chair calls on Senator Saslaw, the senior senator from Fairfax County.
Madam President, I move that all Senate bills on first reading on the uncontested and regular calendar, that's pages 29 through 33, SB 848 through SB 1293, that the rules be suspended and the first constitutional reading dispensed with.
The question is, shall the rules be suspended and the first constitutional reading of the titles of Senate bills on the uncontested and regular calendars, pages 29 through 33, Senate bills 848 through Senate bill 1293, be dispensed with? All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Does any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The reading of the titles is dispensed with. Senator Saslaw.
I now move that those bills go by for the day.
The question is, shall the Senate bills on the uncontested and regular calendars, now on second reading, go by for the day? Those in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The bills will go by for the day.
Uncontested calendar, Senate Joint Resolutions on first reading. Senate Joint Resolution 256, designating the first Sunday after Veterans Day in 2023 and in each succeeding year is Warrior Call Day in Virginia. Senate Joint Resolution 274, acknowledging with profound regret the unethical use of black bodies by medical institutions in the Commonwealth.
Chair again calls on Senator Saslaw.
Madam President, I inquire the clerk, does that complete the calendar?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Is there any other business to come before the Senate? Chair recognizes Senator Locke, the gentlelady from Hampton.
Thank you, Madam President. I have an announcement.
The senator has the floor.
Madam President, upon adjournment, I would ask that the Democratic caucus meet in the back room for a brief meeting.
The clerk will report any announcements on the desk.
Today, Monday, January 30th, the Committee on Commerce and Labor will meet 15 minutes after adjournment, Senate Room A, Pocahontas. The Education and Health Subcommittee on Higher Education will meet 1/2 hour after adjournment in Subcommittee Room 2, 5th floor, Pocahontas. Senators Locke, Peterson, Cosgrove, Hashmi, and Pillion. The Finance and Appropriations Subcommittee on Health and Human Resources will meet at 4 p.m. Subcommittee Room 1, 5th floor, Pocahontas. Senators Howe, Hanger, Vogel, Barker, Deeds, Eben, and McClellan. Tomorrow, Tuesday, January 31st, the Finance and Appropriations Subcommittee on Economic Development and Natural Resources will meet at 7:30 a.m. in Subcommittee Room 1, 5th floor, Pocahontas. Senators Marsden, Ruff, Howe, Saslaw, Hanger, and Barker. The Finance and Appropriations Subcommittee on General Government will meet at 7:30 a.m. in Subcommittee Room 2, 5th floor, Pocahontas. Senators Peterson, Newman, Lucas, Vogel, Locke, and Eben. The Committee on Finance and Appropriations will meet at 9 a.m. Committee Room B, Pocahontas. The Democratic Caucus will meet at 11:30 a.m. Senate Room 1 in the Capitol. The Republican Caucus will meet at 11:30 a.m. Senate Room 2 in the Capitol. And there are 15 days left to shop.
Chair recognizes Senator Saslaw.
Madam President, just an announcement. The Commerce and Labor, because of the meeting, we will meet 30 minutes after adjournment instead of 15.
Chair now calls on Senator Lucas. The gentlelady from Hampton, from Portsmouth.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the Senate do now adjourn until 12 noon tomorrow.
The question is, shall the Senate now adjourn until 12 noon tomorrow? All those in favor of adjourning until 12 noon will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Motion is agreed to. The Senate now stands adjourned until 12 noon tomorrow.